What's up, GERO 200? Welcome back. Spring break is over, but for some of you, summer's already started. It just all depends on your perspective. All right. Um, Alrighty. So this is week 10. Today is March 17th, 2024, and it's St. Patrick's Day. And so just to show you what can be done if you put your mind to it, over spring break, I decided not to shave. And I'm a hairy Irishman, and today's my day. All right. And I grow hair fast, and so you look at check it out. I got a little bit of a beard going on here. What a crack up. We'll see how long that lasts. Okay. Alrighty. So what are we doing here? So this is really, right up the wheelhouse of our Marshall School of Business majors, and really should be up the wheelhouse of everybody. And this is just understanding finances and economics, the perspective of what's happening politically in our country. We hear a lot of people complaining about not being able to make ends meet financially. And we're going to take a kind of a snapshot picture of where we stand as a country. And this is why it's such a hot ticket item politically in our country. We'll see. There's a lot of haves, and there's even more have-nots. Okay. Alrighty. So we'll jump right into the weekly assignments and the house we're building about economics and finance associated with aging is basically setting the stage for the second critical thinking assignment that's coming around down the pike here, due April 1st. And this is where you guys are going to be doing some of your own financial planning using these really cool calculators that AARP has put together. And yeah, you're gonna have fun with it. You're gonna see the outcome. It's gonna incentivize you, as are the next couple of lectures, to do the right thing and start thinking about the future and how to go about building your nest egg to have a good middle age and hopefully age of retirement. Alrighty, so scrolling on down here, we've seen a lot of the implications. Remember, there's a lot right here in terms of aging, setting us up for disease, and that's a big part of when we look at the individual cost. The negative that draws from the cost of getting medical care is pretty much the same. Doesn't matter whether you're wealthy or poor. But the problem is, if you're poor, it cuts in hugely into your annual income, and so we're going to be looking at that. Yeah, again, these are issues that just become more and more important. The amount the older people get, and then there's the cost that we talked about of when these problems arise of doing the caregiving. Okay, and even if you avoid these diseases, but you start getting frail and you need assistance, there's a cost. For me to hire somebody to caregive, there's a cost for family members to provide the caregiving, because that means they're going to have to take time off work to help me out. Okay. Alrighty. So then we worked into this right before spring break. This was the economic and social implications, and so it was a review. Again, this was a short article that we went through, and just really talking about a lot of what we talked about already in class, and just that the financial burden that countries are seeing all across the world, and these are called entitlement programs. So we've hopefully paid into this our whole lives. Like I've paid a percentage of my income, that goes to Social Security. Well, look, this is a fund, a trust fund that the government sets up, and in the old days, there were a lot of us paying into it, so it was spinning off interest. Okay, you would be invested appropriately, it would spin off interest, and then that would go towards paying the benefits for my Social Security and for Medicare. More and more people are tapping into it. People are living longer. So suddenly we're to the point now that we are approaching. We're basically, to pay everybody's benefits, we're having to go into the principal. So the principal of the government spending gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And there's projections of bankruptcy, and if you want to call it that, where it's going to run out of funds. We got to come up with solutions. All right. So we looked at a couple cases here. Bob Orozco, remember him? And we looked at it, and he was doing fine. luckily continues to work, and we saw in the discussion that a lot of people are being forced as they get older to continue to work, and this was nomad land. Was mentioned in this small documentary that was so worthwhile. And again, we see that 40% of Americans are at or below the poverty level when they retire. And so this is part of when you look around town, when you look all across the country, we see the unhoused, the homelessness. Um, Take a close look, and you see there is a disproportionate number of older people, which is really sad. Because if you've done what you should have done and worked your whole life, it's sad that we don't have a better societal umbrella. All right. So that's where just kind of review, and then we're going to go to the next week here, which is week 10. And we're going to look at the numbers, okay? So this is, especially if you guys ever had to do a report on this, this is some really, we aggregated a bunch of articles that give us kind of a window of to where we stand right here in the government. So this will help you, again, in terms of thinking about, voting, okay? And who has the best economic plan. And a lot of people, what's missing is people are not talking about Social Security and Medicare, and they really need to, because people live longer. You're going to be there, and we have growing numbers because of beyond the baby boom. It's just a lot of Americans that need it. So, alrighty. So I have a slide deck here. The slide deck is just a reiteration of what we have posted all throughout Blackboard. So you can go choose how you want to go through this, okay? Alrighty, so this is the goal right here of this week 10 economic preparation for retirement lesson plan, okay? We kind of want to prepare you because it's really broad social implications of how well our population overall in the United States is doing in terms of being prepared for retirement. This is a huge thing. Again, think about politics. Think about cost of living. Okay, so what percentage of U.S. population even saves for retirement? And that's a huge issue. Many people. There's a colloquial saying people live hand to mouth. Meaning they get the food and they eat it, and then they got to go out and get the food again. Okay, or they get the money and they spend it, and it's all gone every month. So they're living very hand to mouth. Okay. And when you do that, it's hard to retire. Okay. The other thing that happens, okay, is people too often they will alter their lifestyle to match an increase in income, and sometimes that increase in income is really hard to sustain. But your lifestyle has moved up to match it, and then if the income drops, people find themselves in serious trouble. Okay, so there was a billboard in the West Side over by UCLA when I was driving over there to go meet a friend one day, and this was during the recession of 2008, 2009, and it was a giant billboard, and I really love what it said. It said, "Act your wage." All right, beautiful, and that's what people need to wrap their heads around. Okay, alrighty. So, how does saving differ between generations? We're going to look at that. Okay. It's really difficult for you guys to say because of the cost of housing right now, all right? What percentage of the U.S. will be relying solely on Social Security benefits for retirement? How much money is that, okay? And what is their reality, all right? How well does Social Security benefits cover the cost of living? And that's the reality. Does it even come close? The answer is in expensive urban residences like New York City, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, you name it, Washington D.C., the answer is no, not even close, okay? How does each age group, meaning each generation, spend their money, okay? What are you spending your money on right now? A lot of you guys are spending your money on education. You're spending your money on rent, things like that, and then as you transition and you project to the future, what should you budget for on an annual basis? So when you guys become financial planners, some of you, or even just as an individual, it's really good to kind of set up your budget and say, these are my expenses. And then Within that budget, then you set up a goal for saving and investing for retirement, okay? Which is awesome. Remember, we're going to go over this, but the really, really beautiful thing about investing in retirement is the tax savings, okay? Because it is this, you look at income tax, both state and federal, and a big chunk gets taken out. You can defer that from happening to a point in life when you're retired, when you're not spending as much money, okay? And so that means there's going to be less tax taken out. And then the other thing we're going to talk about later on is just how when you're not making much money, but you're young like you guys, if you say you're living at home with your parents or you're living with multiple generations or multiple friends or whatever it is, if you can take $6,500 a year or whatever, that's the maximum, whatever you can take, and we're going to do what's called a Roth IRA, you would take the money from your paycheck after it has been taxed, but because you're making no money, it's at such a low tax rate, you invest it, let it sit there until you retire at 60, 65, whatever it is, and then when you pull that money out, it can't be taxed again. There's no double dipping. So these are all really cool strategies. All right, cool. All right, so what we have here, as I indicated here in the pink highlighting, I provided all the URLs from which every figure has been obtained. So if you want to go in there and do some reading, more power to you, okay? I'm going to talk you through it. I kind of highlighted it, and you'll see that I added text to each figure to help it easier for you to interpret what's going on, okay? All righty, so you guys already know this, okay? This is just a chart, okay? And it's asking, it's looking about, this is the actual name of the article. It says, here's what retirement looks like in America in 6 charts, from 401ks to healthcare. I'll look at how Americans spend their time and money in retirement, okay? So now we're just looking at age and age structure, okay? So we already know that people are living longer, okay? There are less children being produced. So on a percentile basis, we're seeing that there's a marching forward in terms of people over the age of 65, and that's what we're looking at here as a percentage right here. It's getting more and more and more and more. So right around the corner is 2030. Okay, and the projection is that we'll be pretty close to 25% of the population will be over 65 years of age. And you can see how different that was back here, in the 50s and 60s, and that was like, 7% of the population. 7 to 25, that's a big chunk, especially because we, on top of that, we have raw numbers population growth. So the total numbers are much, much greater. And you guys already know that, okay? All right, so we can look at the economic well-being of people in our country, okay? And so we can look at your savings balance. This is everything, okay? This is your little Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Citicorp, whatever bank account, okay, that's making next to no interest, okay? So it's maybe making 0.5% of interest, okay? A money market account that might be making, 1.5% interest, something like that. We also can look at the retirement savings that also includes, so maybe you set up an investment account, okay? So at your age, you would set up what's called a brokerage account, okay? It's just names, okay? But that's, set up your own account with Morgan Stanley. You can do it with Fidelity, Vanguard, whatever the company is, and you then do it based on these tax savings that you're looking for towards retirement. So I have a 403B because I work for a nonprofit. Believe it or not, USC is a nonprofit, okay? And some people that work for the government have pensions, all on and on and on and on. So these are all the total, okay? So we look by age group, so no big surprise. You guys, less than 35 years of age, okay? And this is in thousands right here, maybe about $30,000 saved, okay? As your career marches forward then, again, this is the average, okay, savings right here. We see that it's in thousands, it's starting to approach about 100 and maybe 30,000 for this age group. We come all the way out here, okay, and we see this age group right here was the max, okay. Here, people are retired, and so they start drawing off their savings, and so you see it's getting smaller right here. But it's a lot of money right here. You say, oh, look at what's the big beef? Okay, people 65 or older on average have $400,000 on total retirement savings. That's not a lot of money, and that is the average, which is completely skewed by people that are wealthy. All right, so when we look at it in another way, statistically, we can line up every single American that's over 65 years of age, or this age group, or this age group, okay? And we look at, this is the middle of the road savings, the median, and we'll look at how many people stack up that are making a lot more, and how many people that are stack up making a lot less. So it's not going to be skewed by the Bill Gates that skews the average, okay? So we look at the median, okay? So remember, we were out here close to 400,000. So the median, the middle point of savings for these age groups, okay, as you see right here, 75 years of age or more, it goes down to about 250,000. 65 to 74, about 266, okay? So this is a better window into what's going on. And again, at 65 years of age, if I only had $260,000 a year, $266,000 in retirement savings, and I'm projected to live maybe 20 years, and my annual expenses are, you know, we can just even say 50,000, which is not accurate, okay? But let's say it's, you know, 50,000. You can see I only have a quarter of the income to pay for that, okay? And remember, this is the median, okay? So a lot of people are doing far, far worse. That is something to wrap your head around, okay? All right, so when we look at the source of income, so next week, we're gonna get into some financial planning, and it's gonna be awesome. You guys are gonna learn how to start investing in the stock market. We're gonna look at bundles of investments, okay? They're called equities or mutual funds, okay? Indexes, these are all just huge bundles, thousands and thousands of companies you invest in a category, which is a safe way to do it. You know, you can roll the dice and invest in a single company like Apple, okay, like Microsoft. I wish I had, you know, but for every time that does that, hundreds and hundreds of times, people invest in a single company and lose everything. So that's why bundling into a category, a tech category or farming or whatever it is a safer bet, okay? Awesome. So we're going to go down here. What about Social Security? That should be enough, right? Okay. So we're looking at here, this is the average index. We're going to learn next week how your Social Security benefit is determined, okay? And this is basically, it's calculated about how much money you have made over 35 years, okay? And there's an algorithm, an equation that indexes it and determines how much is that going to be, okay? So when we look in our country, okay, and this right here is showing, you know, the percentages, 1, 2, 3, 4, and greater than 5% based on the colors right here, okay? Again, it all is going to add up to 100%, but we see here the average benefit right here, okay? So this is, and in this group, this would be a 4 to 5% of people are making this much money. This is, we globbed it together, okay? It's beyond the screen. So almost 17.5%, approaching 20% are gonna make $2,600 or more. And you'll see there's a lot of, you can make a lot, okay? But this just shows you how limited this is. And this is the average Joe right here, okay? $1,825 a month, okay? And you're supposed to live on that if you retire at 67 years of age, whatever it is, okay? 62, 72, you're supposed to live on that, okay? So that is a tough one, okay? Think about your rent right now is $1,825 a month. Then what? Okay, we're going to see, you know, expenses for healthcare are enormous, you know, for people as you get older, okay? So we look at right here, okay? If we look at, this is our full official retirement age, okay? It's a sliding scale. You can retire at 62 for every month earlier than 66.7, a percentage of your calculated amount will be decreased, okay? So we see right here, and if you retire all the way up to 70 years of age, there's an incentive. You can increase the amount above this 66.7 year of age amount by an additional 20%. Okay, and we'll go through that in a sec right here. So we see right here the maximum benefit. So I've been at the top of my salary scale, and based on the indexing I talked about right here, the maximum benefit at 66.67 years of age would be $3,627 per month. It translates to about $43,500 per year. Okay, that's not a lot of money. Again, look at the cost of rent, cost of medical care that we're going to go over in a second. I'll let the cat out of the bag for my age group. The average out of pocket I have to pay for my insurance premium. Okay, it could be either I'm still using my primary care insurance, a preferred provider organization or PPO. Some people have HMOs, health maintenance organizations. Um, but if you're on the different types of Social Security, okay, you can have original Social Security that costs more, okay, or you can have the HMO version that provides less service but costs less. But in the end, a little over $7,000 a year is what people my age spend on health insurance. All right, we can see we're whittling away at this opportunity. So even if my max, if I take away $7,000 here, okay, where am I at? Okay, now I'm down to $36,000 a year to live on. That's impossible. Okay, if you retire early, you can't take it over anymore. You lose your job. Okay, and you're forced to draw on it. At 62, again, every single month, as you march backward towards 62, just less and less benefit. Okay, because the government incentivizes we need to work longer. Okay. If you retire at 62, the maximum benefit, even if you earned a good salary, is about $2,500 a month or $30,864 a year as of 2023. Big difference between this and this. So that's an incentive to keep working. Or you can do what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to work my projection. I'm going to be 68 in June. I'm looking to work probably till I'm 72. That's what I feel like I want to do. There's a lot of personal reasons. We need my health insurance for Julie, who's 7 years younger than me and does not qualify for Medicare up to that point in time. So we need our health insurance. So once I hit age 70, I can actually start drawing this and keep working. Okay, and this is $4,555 a month or $54,660 a year. So you see this by waiting, my annual Social Security benefit would be $10,000 more a year. And why not? Because I'm making a good salary. All righty, that's how that stacks up. Okay, so I keep saying this is not enough, this is not enough, this is not enough. Okay, so let's see. We can go to this article right here, which is a great article, 2022 from the U.S. Federal Reserve. Okay, looking at the economic well-being of U.S. households. Okay, they did surveys. Okay, and so I have explanations over here on the right-hand side for these figures. Okay, so again, it's taken from this article. And this is for those people who have retirement accounts. This is how Americans invest their money for retirement. Okay, so we have what's called right here a defined contribution plan. Okay, they're calling it a defined contribution pension, but this is where you take your money that you've earned and you invest it. Okay, sometimes you'll get matching funds, and we'll talk about that. So I can invest 5% of my salary at USC, and then USC matches it 2-to-1, which is huge. It's just money on the table, so you always put that in. I can, in addition, invest other money beyond that, but it won't be matched. Okay. All right. So this is like a 401k, like I said, for a nonprofit, 403b. There's a number of different numbers that are based on the federal tax code. That's why they get these numbers. Okay. All righty. How about so we see here. That's of those people that do invest, okay, only 55% have these 401k or 403bs. So that's starting to make me scratch my head a little bit, okay? We can see down here, 25% of Americans have nothing. 25% have nothing. That makes me really, really worried. And some people have very little in here. So don't go away thinking, well, these people have millions of dollars in here. They don't, okay? All right, some people have savings, okay, not in retirement accounts. So this would just be your savings account or a money market account in Bank of America or Wells Fargo or something like that. And again, only so many people are hand to mouth. Only half of America has any savings whatsoever. We're going to talk about individual retirement accounts. This is where you do this on your own, okay? After you get your paycheck, okay? There's a couple different categories we're going to talk about. Not many people can afford to do this, okay? This is for government employees, okay? A defined pension, all right, for the most part. My friend worked for UPS. They had a pension system as well, okay? Julia worked for the Auto Club, okay? They have a pension system. But for the most part, this is government where you, based on your years of service, your income, you have a guaranteed income stream, okay? So till the day you die, it's there. And then depending on the system, it just disappears. Sometimes there can be a beneficiary that can get some percentage of that as well, okay? Real estate, okay, not many Americans you have to have money to make money, so not many Americans do that. And again, we see down here, this is the scary part right there. So these are all the categories. We're going to go over this over and over again, and this is your first pass, okay? So then we look right here, again, from this same article right here, from the U.S. Federal Reserve, and in their questionnaire, they're asking people, how do you feel, okay? So first of all, they say, based on age group, based on race and ethnicity, and based on disability right here, who has any form of retirement savings. I'm going to get this guy out of the way right here. All right, so we see age group right here. We'll start with that. All right, so 18 to 29, so 62% of Americans have some form of retirement savings, okay? Are they on track? No, all right, because they're having to pay for expenses. If we look over here, 45 to 59, so this is, okay, well, some form of retirement savings, and we saw the distribution. Some form could be all the above, any of the above, okay? All righty, and this 25% is looking at all of America, all the age groups, just to let you know, okay? All right, so we hone it down based on cohorts, okay, by generations right here. And we see, oh, these guys, 84% have something, 87% have something, so that's good. But are they truly prepared? Are you on track? That's what this is, the red explanation is right here. And we see that half of Americans in this age group are not prepared, are not on track. They're teetering financially, okay? Let's look at the fairness and the distribution based on ethnicity. So we can like white America, black America, Hispanics, and Asians, okay? And ask the same question, do you have anything? And you see a disproportionate drop in any form of retirement savings. Again, looking at all age groups within these ethnicities right here, okay? We can ask each ethnicity, are you prepared? And this is scary right here. So roughly 25% of Black and Hispanic America feel that they're not ready for retirement, okay? All righty. And then the even scarier part right here, again, that's looking at all age groups, if you have a disability, all right? So people with disability, only 49% of them have any type of savings or retirement account, and you can see they're woefully underprepared. 17%, but people with disability said they're not prepared for retirement. So yeah, all right. So we then go into the looking at who has retirement accounts here from the U.S. Census. So it dives a little bit deeper into this concept right here. So let's scroll right down here. Okay. So we look again, age structure, generation. So we have baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, and you guys, Gen Zers. Okay. So who has any form of retirement account? And again, in this age group, yeah, that looks good, but there's 40% plus that have nothing, okay? And we go down here, and not a big surprise that not many people at your age group are investing. We see that there's a significant difference between men and women. Women have less, okay? We again scroll down here. I find this truly worrisome. We look at it based on race and Hispanic origin is what they categorized it, okay? And so we look at 53%. Again, this is all ages grouping everybody together down here, okay? We see that white and low here, so half America has no form of retirement account, okay? We look at Black America, okay? And we look at Hispanic America, and we see that, Hispanic America only less than 30% and just above 30% Black America have any form of retirement account. So there's a social inequity that's happening here based on sex and also based on ethnicity. Alrighty, so here's the reality then, okay? Costs, okay? And, you guys are healthy, okay? Other than having, some types of sports-related injury, for the most part, you're gonna be good. Yes, there's exceptions, okay? But we're looking at the cost of medical care. Now we see here the dark green, this is how much the annual premium, all right, the annual insurance cost that I gotta pay Blue Cross every year, this amount of money, okay? Or in the case of people over 65, most of them are going to be the different forms of Medicare plans, all right? We see that the cost of insurance goes up because insurance companies know you're much more likely to need medical care. We already went through that. Who gets cancer? Who gets heart disease? Who gets diabetes, all right? Not the younger people, it's the older people. And it's these chronic diseases of aging that are really expensive. And so we're going to charge you more for this, okay? Alrighty, so you pay for this premium, and then what happens, okay, is you're going to have, in addition to the insurance, you're going to have out-of-pocket expenses, okay, your deductible, all right, and things that are not covered, okay, so we have medical services, all right, that would be like doctor visits, surgeries, whatever it is, drugs, and then different types of supplies that are not drugs, and we can see it all adds up. And we see right here, this is the average health expense of people over the age of 65. It's enormous, enormous. When we look back and we think about roughly 40% of Americans are living on this, all right? So, you're left, when you do rent and medical expenses, you have nothing in terms of being able to take care for yourself, or oftentimes, because of medical expenses, you may find yourself not being able to afford rent. So it's a real tragedy, okay? Awesome. So the following articles is right here were taken from this, following figures down here were taken from the World Economic Forum, okay? This is a 2022 article. So we redid this because we had to make it current, okay? And again, you look back on data retrospectively, so this is on 2021, and this gives us numbers, okay? And we see that, you start approaching 20% of your total income in this generation going towards just your average medical expense, okay? So you can see more and more and more of your income is going towards having to care for medical expenses, and that's what we were showing right here, okay? We see down here, okay, we look at how people spend money, okay? So we see that your peak spending right here, okay, these are the 40 to 50-year-olds right here, the Gen Xers, okay? Baby boomers start slowing down. You start going out as much. Maybe you don't, do crazy travel as much. And you see that your expenditures go down, and then as you get older, the expenditures go down even more. Okay, but it does a bigger percentage of that expenditure is, of course, medical care, right? And then this is how much the average expenditure is, for you guys. And this, this is the average. If you look at a place like LA, it's going to be a lot more. Okay, all right. So. We're looking again here, the average amount of money. So we're looking at, these are just how much you have to spend. We can hone it down now to housing, okay? And we see that, housing costs a ton of money, okay? And this is average. We look at, more expensive communities, it's gonna be like LA or Frisco, it's gonna be a lot more, okay? And, what I do is I just want you to remember here, that 25 to 30% of Americans live solely on Social Security, where their income might be about $21,000 to $22,000 a year. And we're looking at housing you see it's blown away right here. You look at medical expenses, okay, as we showed right there and right there. So it's far exceeding the income that the people have. Alrighty. How about on average entertainment? Okay, we see again. This is when you have the most amount of money at this 40 to 50 age group, so you're spending more money on average doing things, and then the projections go down as you get older. Okay. All right, cool. So how do we, this module, how does it wrap up? Okay, so this is a really cool article, how much money you should be saving, okay? It's based on Fidelity Investments projections, okay? So by age 30, which is around the corner for you guys, you should have, whatever your annual salary is at age 30, you should have that put away, all right? So, to make things, you're on track. You have about 55 grand put away into some type of investment portfolio, okay, like I said, they would call those brokerage accounts, okay? Um, you might have it in the housing, whatever it is, okay? By age 40, you have 3 times your income, so you should have over here, start having close to 175 grand, say. By age 56, okay, let's say you're only at 50, so it's 300,000 to maintain that lifestyle, okay? If your lifestyle is 200 grand a year, okay, then by age 50 you need to have 6 times 200 grand a year to maintain that lifestyle later on. So you should then you start looking at you need to have $1 million by age 50, okay. Age 60, 8 times your income, and it's at 10 times your income. You should be continuing to save because now I'm going to retire. There's no more income coming in, and now it's going to reduce. And we'll see how that works when we do our own investing next week. Okay, so that's the above savings. Okay, can be from retirement accounts like a 401k, a Roth IRA, and we'll go over that next week. All right. Alrighty. So that is the background. Okay, and so here's the discussion prompt. Do you think the current Social Security system is adequate for addressing the economic needs of older Americans? Okay, you can ask that question when you interview your grandfather or parent when you do your interview paper. These are really difficult questions. Okay, when we look at all the stats right here, you should sit down with your parents because how are you set up? How is grandpa set up? Grandma set up? Are things adequate? Because if they're not, then in terms of your budget, as a young adult, you're going to have to budget for, if they didn't have the opportunity to save, then you have to budget for care for them, for their expenses. Okay, so this is a big deal. All right. Could the government do better? We've seen before that other countries, okay, the support is enormous. How do they do that? They have a bigger, higher percentage of taxing of the income. So you just, adjust your lifestyle. Okay, fine. You're taking more tax out of my paycheck. Fine, I get used to that. But do know that later on that we're going to have a much more comprehensive and really benevolent, meaning just well managed and well-being entitlement program. You're going to have a good income stream guaranteed by the government. Do we want to go there? Okay. So the happiest people in the world are in the Nordic countries. Looking at Sweden and Denmark and the other countries up there, because that is how they planned. Okay. Alrighty. Is it the government's responsibility? Okay, or are we just capitalistic? You better make good money, you better put it away, or screw you. Is that where we're at? Are we compassionate? What happens? We're seeing it, like I said, on the streets in every major urban environment in our country. Okay, what happens to those people that didn't save, that couldn't, that were hand to mouth? Okay, do we have a responsibility? Okay, alrighty. Are we a compassionate society? Okay, should Social Security, Medicare do more? Okay. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna get out of there. But that's a link. You can look at Social Security benefits right there. Okay, we see here. Okay, and this was a study from the Kaiser Family Foundation. Okay, they looked at 2013 and the projection to 2030. So we're looking at average America. Okay, for average Americans in 2030, it is projected, okay, that 50% of their, right now it was 40%, by 2030, 50% of their Social Security check is going to be out-of-pocket expenses for healthcare. That's enormous, okay? Something to wrap your head around. Maybe we can do better, okay? This goes into how Social Security Fund the Social Security program is funded. These are older articles, and they don't have the projections, okay? When you look at this, okay, there's some really good reading if you wanted to type it, get more current. So this is your prompt, and I really want you guys to kind of check this out, okay? So this explains the Social Security system, all right? And so we see, that my when I have my income, I have my federal income tax that goes to other purposes, goes to roads and funding the salary of all the congressmen and et cetera, everything that government is responsible for. And then we have also a Social Security tax, okay? I pay 6.2% and my employer pays 6.2%, okay? The problem is this tax is capped. So I can make 500 grand a year, and once I get to $160,200, no more taxes are taken out. So that's a problem, okay? We can make this means-based, okay? If the wealthiest people in our country are making billions of dollars, okay? We can prorate it so they pay a much greater amount. I do pretty well, okay? So but I shouldn't have as much taken out, for example, as maybe a Bill Gates, okay? All right? So you make the projection prorated, okay? The problem is Elon Musk, Bill Gates, everybody that's super wealthy, they will tap into the Social Security, right? So they're going to get the same stuff we are going to. They're going to get they're going to tap into Medicare, all right? They're going to use it. They're going to, it's like, hey, it's mine, But I think my solution, they need to pay more, okay? All right. So when we go through this, okay, the Social Security is going to start falling short in 2032. Medicare starts falling short in 2028. There are only two solutions. Either we keep delaying the full access to Social Security and Medicare, or we're going to raise more Social Security and Medicare taxes for the working population. All right, that's pretty much all you got. All right, all righty. So this is a 2012 videos right here. They talk about how the funds are assembled and what they mean, and then this is the reality check down here, which is a really important one. All right, so this was done in 2020 with a new analysis. Okay. And things have changed quite a bit, okay, compared to 2012. All right, and again, it's just like we're handing this over to your generation. This video is so worth watching. I really want you guys to check it out, and then you can think about this in terms of, like I said, where we are as a country. All right, awesome, and that is the prompt right in here. That's your discussion. All right, guys. Welcome back. All right. It's the final stretch, home stretch. This is a very relevant section of the course for all of us because we all need to make enough money to survive on. And as you guys know, you're going to survive a lot longer than I am. So you need to project forward into the future. All right. Peace. And we'll see you guys next time.